The guard tower at Raven Rock Detention Compound wasn't meant to be quiet, but tonight it felt wrongfully calm, like the air itself was holding its breath. Private First Class Dylan Mercer leaned back in his chair, boots kicked up against the metal rail, rifle resting lazily across his lap. The desert wind brushed dust against the floodlights, making them flicker slightly. His shift had been boring. Too boring. Then he noticed her. She stood at the main checkpoint below, posture straight, helmet tucked under her arm, eyes scanning the perimeter with a focus that made Dylan smirk. Great, he muttered to himself. Another diversity hire. She wasn't tall. She wasn't loud. She didn't look like the hardened soldiers Dylan had trained with. Her uniform was clean, but worn properly. Her sleeves rolled with precision. Her movements calm. Not nervous, not stiff. Just controlled, a female guard. Dylan chuckled and keyed his radio. "Hey, Control," he said, not bothering to hide the sarcasm in his voice. "Looks like we've got a new babysitter at Checkpoint Bravo." No response. Probably busy. He zoomed in with his scope just enough to get a better look. She had a sharp jawline, dark eyes that didn't wander, and a faint scar just under her right eyebrow. The kind that didn't come from training accidents. Still, Dylan wasn't impressed. He climbed down from the tower, boots crunching against gravel as he approached the checkpoint. Two other guards stood nearby, both junior enlisted, both clearly unsure how to act around her. "Hey," Dylan called out. "You lost, ma'am." She turned slowly, eyes locking onto his. Not startled, not offended, just observant. "No," she replied calmly. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Dylan laughed. "Right? And I'm his Secretary of Defense." The two junior guards exchanged awkward glances. Dylan stepped closer. "Listen, this post gets rough. Long nights. High-risk detainees. You sure you're cut out for this? We've got admin offices that might suit you better." She didn't blink. "I've handled worse," she said. That made him laugh harder. "Yeah? What?" "Filing paperwork under pressure." Her gaze hardened slightly. Not angry, just colder. "I suggest you return to your post," she said. "You're blocking the surveillance line." Dylan scoffed. "You giving orders now?" Before she could answer, a low rumble echoed in the distance. At T first, Dylan thought it was thunder. Then the ground vibrated. Headlights appeared over the ridge. Not civilian, not supply trucks. Tactical vehículos. Blacked out. Moving fast, Dylan's smile faded. The radio on his shoulder crackled to life. "All units, stand by. Incoming classified transport. Repeat, classified transport. Lockdown Protocol Alpha." The junior guards snapped to attention instantly. The woman didn't move, except to raise her hand. "Checkpoint secure," she said into her own radio. "Visual confirmed. Advise perimeter teams to hold fire unless instructed." Her voice carried authority, the kind that didn't ask permission. Dylan frowned. "Hey, who told you to?" She turned to him slowly. "Private," she said, reading his rank without looking. "If you interrupt me again during an active protocol, I'll have you reassigned to latrine duty for the rest of the month. Do you understand?" His face flushed. Before he could respond, the vehicles rolled in .5 of them. The doors opened in perfect synchronization. Men stepped out wearing unmarked uniforms. Night vision mounts flipped up, weapons held low but ready. Every movement screamed disciplined SEALs. Dylan swallowed. He'd seen them before, once during a joint exercise. These weren't regular operators. These were ghosts. The lead SEAL scanned the area. Then his gaze landed on the woman at the checkpoint. He froze. Then, to Dylan's shock, the entire team stopped. The lead operator stepped forward, removed his helmet, and spoke clearly. "Permission to enter, Major." The word hit Dylan like a punch to the chest. "Major," the woman nodded once. "Perimeter secure?" "Yes, ma'am." She handed her helmet to a junior guard and stepped forward. "You're 5 minutes early." The SEAL allowed himself a faint smile. Couldn't risk being late again. Dylan's mouth went dry. Again, she walked past them, inspecting gear, nodding slightly as she passed each operator. Every one of them acknowledged her presence. Not casually, not playfully, but with unmistakable respect, the kind earned in blood and fire. Dylan stood frozen. The woman stopped beside him. Slowly, she turned. Her eyes met his. "Private Mercer," she said calmly. I believe you suggested I wasn't cut out for this post. His throat tightened. Mom, I didn't. She leaned in just enough for him to hear. I was guarding war criminals while you were learning how to salute. She straightened and addressed the SEALs. Move the detainee. I want Wills up in 20. Yes, Major. They replied in unison. Yes, they moved out. One of the SEALs glanced back at Dylan. Almost smiled. Dylan stood there, heart pounding, watching as the woman he had mocked moments ago took command of the most dangerous men on base without raising her voice once. And suddenly, the quiet night felt very, very loud. Before leaving, she paused at the checkpoint again. Without looking at Dylan, she spoke. This is Major Evelyn Cross, she said into the radio. And for the record, I don't babysit. She walked away. Dylan didn't sit down for the rest of his shift. The compound didn't return to normal after Major Evelyn Cross walked away. IT couldn't. Private Dylan Mercer stood at attention longer than required, spine stiff, eyes fixed straight ahead. Every sound now felt amplified. Boots on concrete, radios chirping, engines fading into the distance as the SEAL convoy disappeared beyond the floodlights. His earlier laughter echoed in his head, mocking him. Major. The word replayed over and over. He had mocked a major, and not just any officer. One the SEALs answered to without hesitation. Dylan swallowed hard as his radio crackled again. Tower 1, report. He cleared his throat. Tower 1 secure. His voice didn't sound like his own. From the corner of his eye, he saw movement. Major Cross was back, walking alone now. Helmet under her arm, jacket unzipped slightly as if the desert heat didn't bother her. She stopped near the perimeter fence, studying the dark horizon. Dylan hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to stay silent, but guilt has weight. And it was crushing his chest that he stepped forward. Ma'am. She didn't turn. I owe you an apology, he said. I spoke out of line. Silence stretched between them. Then she finally looked at him. Not with anger, not with satisfaction, but with something far worse. Disappointment. Why? She asked. Dylan blinked. Why what, ma'am? Why did you mock me? She asked calmly. Not me specifically. The idea of me. His jaw tightened. I didn't think, no, she cut in softly. You didn't. She took a step closer. You saw the uniform, but not the experience. You saw gender, not rank. That kind of thinking gets people killed. Dylan nodded stiffly. Yes, ma'am. She studied him for a moment longer, then turned away again, dismissed. Relief washed through him, until he realized she wasn't finished. Mercer, she added, you're assigned to shadow me for the next 48 hours. His head snapped up. Mom. Consider it corrective training, she said. If you're going to guard this facility, you need to understand who comes through it and why. He swallowed. Yes, ma'am. The next morning began before the sun. Dylan arrived at the operations wing to find Major Cross already there, coffee untouched, eyes locked on a digital map filled with red markers. These, she said without looking up, are not prisoners. Dylan frowned. Mom. They're assets, she said. Captured intermediaries. People who know where the bodies are buried, sometimes literally. She tapped one marker. That man we transferred last night, she continued. He ordered the execution of 3 humanitarian teams and sold the footage. Dylan's stomach twisted. He laughed while doing it. She finally looked at him. That's who we protect this place from, she said. Not boredom, not paperwork. Monsters. They moved through the compound together. Every corridor, every checkpoint. People straightened when they saw her. Officers nodded. NCOs fell silent. Even the base commander paused mid-conversation to greet her. Respect followed her like a shadow. The hangar. Dylan froze. A familiar black aircraft sat on the tarmac. NMH 47 Chinook SEALs were already loading gear. One of them noticed her and jogged over. Ma'am, he said, saluting. Didn't know you were back stateside. Briefly, she replied. What's your op? Recovery, the SEAL said. Lost team, hostile zone. She nodded once. I'm coming. Dylan's eyes widened. Ma'am, with respect, she cut him a look. This is what corrective training looks like. The flight was tense. Dylan sat strapped in, heart pounding as the helicopter cut through the air. The SEALs checked weapons with calm efficiency. No privado. No jokes. Only trust. When the Chinook landed hard, chaos erupted. Gunfire, shouts. Dylan barely processed it before Major Cross was moving, fast, decisive, issuing commands over the roar. Two-man teams, east flank. Suppress and advance. The SEALs moved instantly. She didn't fire first. She didn't panic. She commanded, "Take T1 point." A wounded operator went down. Without hesitation, she dragged him behind cover, applied pressure, and kept issuing orders with one hand while stabilizing him with the other. Blood soaked her sleeve. Dylan watched, stunned. This wasn't a desk officer. This was someone who had lived here, in smoke, noise, and fear, and mastered it. When it was over, the lost team was recovered. Alive, back at base. The debrief was short. As the SEALs filed out, one lingered. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "wouldn't be here without you." Again, she nodded. "Get some rest." When he left, Dylan finally spoke. "I was wrong," he said. "About everything." She leaned back against the table. "Good. That's it?" he asked. She met his eyes. "That's the first step." He straightened. "Permission to ask a question, ma'am?" "Granted. Why stay quiet? At the checkpoint. Why not correct me immediately?" A faint smile crossed her face, brief, sharp. "Because respect forced is obedience," she said. "Respect earned lasts longer." She picked up her helmet. "Remember that, Private." As she walked out, Dylan stood taller than he ever had before. Later that night, as he returned to his tower, the compound felt different, not quieter. Cleared on the radio, a new guard whispered, "Hey, is that her?" Dylan answered without hesitation. "Yes," he said. "That's Major Cross." And this time, there was pride in his voice. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel Her Brave Stories for more powerful, real-feeling courage like this. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?